Hell yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yes, sir.
hey,
First episode of the Basement Cast.
here we go.
Whatever that's called.
We don't know. It'll have a name eventually, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
What's going
First
on,
episode.
Joe?
Hey,
It's been a while,
It's been a
actually.
while.
Before I
Yeah.
saw you today,
was
but
it?
we had quite the day actually before we came
Yeah.
here. Record store day, right?
Yeah, it was record store day today. What's the date?
Yeah. What is the date? We
17th of
17th.
July.
It's funny because earlier
2020.
when we were talking
Yeah.
about this, because there's kind of like two record store days technically, right?
Yeah.
There's one earlier, like in June, and then there's one today. And
Yeah.
we were talking about it, and it's like, all right, well, we're not going to do the one earlier because it's not as big as the one today, but we just can't forget about it.
Because they have exclusives.
Today,
For-
yeah. And we,
And there was a specific
you,
record
yup.
that I was trying to get. It was it was an Earth Gang record, Strays with Rabies. I think it was called. It was one of their earlier projects.
Okay, so it's not new, but it's something that
No,
you
it's
can get
old.
on vinyl. That's kind of,
But it's the first time. It came out in 2015.
oh, so
But
it's
it's
kind
the
of like a
first-
limited.
Time that it's on vinyl. And it was like a blue, like splatter vinyl. And we went to two different places, and I was like, all right, let's check it out. And they had like a bunch of Bob Dylan and some like Miles Davis stuff, and it was like, there's no
typical-
Earth Gang.
yeah.
We come back to my house, and I look on the page. There wasn't a single copy in the Midwest, even, period. And it's like, damn. They were all in Atlanta. I mean, they're from Atlanta, and there was a ton in California, and there was some in Florida, and
None in the Midwest.
none in the Midwest. I don't even think on the East Coast too much, like on the northern East Coast.
Yeah, because I mean, Florida's kind of on the east, but like
And Atlanta, too.
they're like that
in
Georgia,
Georgia,
cousin
you know?
that nobody really counts in.
Georgia's
the
kind
family.
of
Georgia's
right
its own
there,
thing.
too.
I'm convinced because it's not really
Yeah.
quite Florida, but it's not really
No.
quite like the rest of. If you go a little bit wester,
Yeah.
it's kind of its own little thing, from what I've heard. I've never quite been there, but from secondhand sources that are quite reliable. What
I haven't been
good
too many
peaches.
places.
Yeah, filmed The Walking Dead there.
In
Apparently.
Florida?
No, in Atlanta.
Oh, in Atlanta.
They probably
Really?
made their way to Florida eventually, but they went to LA for the spin-off series, and it
Mm.
was not
Nah, that
as
show was so
good.
bad.
any of them. I was gonna ask you which one, but then I just realized
The
to a
games
certain
were better.
point-
The Telltale games had a better story to them.
That's a good point.
I mean, the characters were just, I don't know, Lee and Clem and Duck, man. When Duck died, I was like, fuck yeah, dude. I hated Duck. He was the worst.
Well, and they wanted him to be the worst.
I liked
because
it when that
they-
one guy came back. He
Kenny.
came
I
back
was about to
like
say
in the
which
second
one.
season.
Yeah. Well, because
And then they had Jesus.
he had the best
in there.
arc, yeah.
Yeah,
but
he did.
Jesus, I don't know. Jesus is crazy because then that's when they try to kind of like
He was
bring
OP,
more
dude.
of the show into
He
the
was
games.
parkouring like crazy off the walls. They
Too
were like,
good.
he's just a god. I mean,
I mean,
he
yeah,
just
Robert
wouldn't get
Kirkman's a
hurt.
little on the nose with that one.
He wasn't like, he didn't have a gun. He was just like meleeing the zombies. It was like your max level in Dead Island, and you're just like,
He got like 10
OP.
strength in Fallout.
yeah,
It's like, come on, that's
10
not
strength.
even fair.
no intelligence.
What, you get more.
Do you know that if there's like, if in New Vegas you have one intelligence, there's different dialogue
Yes,
for the character?
there's more options that you get
Yeah.
to play as, but it's
'Cause you
that's-
can be a
that's the role playing
dumbass.
element that you want.
Oh no, definitely.
Funny
If
that
you don't want to be
a Bethesda
you better be really
series-
good at shit, because you get no perk points or no skill points when you got no intelligence.
Yeah, it kind of makes you feel
Yeah.
like at the beginning of the game your build is more important and impactful than
Oh,
in
dude,
Fallout 4 because you can always just level up later. Yep. Hey, I saw it coming.
cheers
Cheers, cheers.
for
Hey,
the first episode.
I got a can. That's good.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's pretty good. First episode
Yeah, you know,
of
it's
whatever
funny.
this is.
This is episode 1, but there was an episode 0 and episode -1.
That's true.
That's kind of how I see it. So, episode -1 was at a friend's cabin, and he will probably be on the show 100% actually.
Yeah,
and
eventually.
then episode 0 was it was at my cabin in a Volkswagen bus that now resides in Hawaii.
Was it the same one? Because that was the second one, right? Or
Yeah, it
that
was the
wasn't
orange
Babe,
one.
the original one. Yeah.
That's the second one. Everyone's
Yeah.
like, oh fuck.
There's so much lore with the.
We might save that story for him to tell, because he too will be on this show. We'll have
That's
a
a
lot
good
of
point.
guests, as a matter of fact.
Well, that's what's exciting about starting this, is because there is a lot of stories. There's a lot of tales that we do need to get out there.
But like,
we
a
need
lot
to
of
have
them
it the
are
right
not
time.
ours to tell.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
And I don't want
Yeah.
to talk about it too much or preface it, but like that's what's exciting starting this, is because there's that promise of a lot of wacky, zany characters coming later. Because
True.
we happen to know a couple.
We do.
We
happen to
saw-
be a couple too.
we
As a
try
matter of fact.
not try to be. I feel like we just happen.
Zany, I like being zany. Loony, like
Not
in the right
too-
way.
Not too zany. As
Not
in,
like where it's
Zane.
bad.
Zany.
No.
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 Draws the line.
But then that episode 0 is pretty funny. We lost episode or -1 because it was on an old phone.
Yeah.
We recorded them off of phones,
Back in the day.
by the way. But the episode 0, the one in the bus, I think it still exists. And
Who would have that?
I think Kenny has it.
Okay.
I'll name drop.
That's fair. He'll come eventually.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, it was funny just listening back to that. Like, I mean, that was almost 4 years ago.
Sound what we
Or actually, no, it was 3. Maybe. Yeah, it was 3.
to sound
think
what
it
we were
was
talking
3.
about, like, or how we were sounding
trying
back
to like,
then.
yeah, it was really uniform. We were like,
Can imagine.
okay, we have to introduce ourselves and like talk about all this and like all this. We have to be really like uniform and like don't trail off too much. And it's like, well, that's kind of the whole point.
Open
'Cause
conversation.
It's kind of like when you have a conversation with somebody, it's like, how did we start talking about this? And you have no idea. It's kind of like, that's why we're doing this, by the way. Like, we're trying to,
Keep a record of it, yeah. One day our
No.
memories will fade, and well, this is a nice
I
little
don't know.
reminder
But,
of what we were doing.
yeah, we were so like uniform about that first episode, though. We were like, okay, we need to stop talking about that. And I was like, man, there's no rules to it. You just talk about whatever you want.
Open discussion. Talk about whatever you
It's open
want.
to whatever.
Whenever. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of hitting points and commonalities.
We were talking about like
between
cartoons and
us.
shit.
We were talking.
Do you
about
remember? I
cartoons?
remember the episode so well. We were talking about cartoons.
What cartoon? Like Avatar?
Just our favorite, like
Oh.
in general.
What did you
Like-
throw out there? What was yours back then?
Oh man.
And is it
I don't
it still
remember.
concurrent? Because no one will ever hear it, so we don't, But like, what do you?
I don't remember what I said specifically.
What did anybody say?
I think Kenny said Arthur, and I was like,
Like with the aardvark?
yeah, I was like, yeah, maybe when I was like a kid. And he was like, damn, and I was like, all right.
Oh man,
well."
that's still.
We probably
holds
talked
up,
about
though.
SpongeBob. I mean, that's pretty iconic.
That's up there. I think
Even
that's
to
probably
this
the most
day.
impactful for our generation, and
Yeah,
even
he's
the
kind
one
of like our
before
Mickey
that,
Mouse and stuff.
kind of just up there actually, like more competitive in terms of relevancy, like
Yeah.
because he was Nickelodeon's face for the longest time, the only guy
'Cause
they
it was
had.
like, for us, it was like Disney, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network.
Yep.
There were 3 channels. They were right next to each other. I'm not even gonna get into the numbers because everyone's like, bro, it was channel this. It was
No.
channel that. And
It
it's
was 53, 54, and 55.
yeah, it was.
Yeah,
That's probably just for where we live.
of course.
though,
So if anybody
but-
was gonna pinpoint exactly,
and at the time, because now it's like, oh, it's on channel 9,323.
yeah, of course. If you pay the extra premium
like,
deluxe
fuck.
package
There's,
for
like, just-
Xfinity,
What is up with those
DirecTV.
channels? There's just like 20 channels in a row where it's just like it's porn, and it's like, damn. the fuck?
Just put it in a Google search engine. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why watch it on your TV?
But like the best,
because you can.
like, so
Connect your
Disney wasn't
Google.
too hot on cartoons. They didn't have too many cartoons, which is kind of funny. Like the channel, Disney Channel.
Yeah,
but
not too many hot popular
no.
Disney Channel cartoons.
If we're talking about that, if we're talking about like cartoons
of our era,
of our era
anyways.
on those channels, because Nickelodeon had a lot from the 90s.
Yes. Oh, classics.
Ren
But like
and
we watched
Stimpy.
reruns of that on like Nick at Night and
Yeah.
like before then
Cat
when it was
Dog.
about to like
I used
transition.
to watch a lot of Cat Dog.
Cat Dog was dope. Well, because they were like just
They're making that fighting game.
with the
Dude, Cat Dog's gonna be in it. Ren and Stimpy's
that
gonna be in
confirmed?
it.
Are these confirmed characters?
Yes.
You're
Did
not
you-
even just
we should watch the
hoping.
trailer after this.
There's actually a trailer.
There's a trailer for it.
I
Yeah.
thought you were just like, oh, it's confirmed. That they're
No,
coming out
dude,
with
it's a
it.
trailer. Nigel Thornberry's in it.
Stop. Is Flea in it?
Helga's
Is
in
Flea?
it. No, I bet, dude. They
He
better
has
put
to be.
Donnie.
Is that his name?
That was his name. Yeah.
It's like blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody loves Flea.
Or
Or like that guy.
well, you know, it's funny that they're making this. They did the same thing with Cartoon Network characters.
Samurai Jack.
It was they had Samurai Jack,
fire.
all three of the Powerpuff Girls. It was the same thing. It
Yep.
was a Super Smash Brothers clone,
That's eventually it was.
and
gonna
then they had Johnny
happen.
Bravo and shit like that, and like. So when they put out this Nickelodeon thing, I was like, oh, they've done this before, and I'm like, wait, no, they haven't. They did it with Cartoon Network, with
Yeah.
like.
But they had
all
a
that.
crossover video game with Nickelodeon properties. It was like Danny
Dude,
Phantom.
Nicktoons Unite.
There it is.
It was
Danny,
Danny
Phantom.
Phantom.
Perfect era of like that
Yeah.
animation.
Yeah.
I think like,
SpongeBob,
everybody at that time.
Timmy,
Perfect.
and Jimmy. That was the four.
The Power Hour. Oh my god, that's probably what sprouted it. They were like, let's cross
True.
over this. Let's see if this.
Throw SpongeBob
will
in there.
happen.
You know, they made a lot of those games.
Did
They made a lot more. They made Nicktoons Unite. There was one. They made a lot. And
That
they
was-
brought in like other properties and stuff like that. There was one with Invader Zim. I love Invader Zim. You ever watch that show?
I've seen some of it,
Mm.
but it was again out of my era, like right before my times. And my parents had a thing
Was
where it
it?
was like, it was a creepy animation style. It was like
Oh.
unsettling and not really like.
Yeah, Invader Zim was it's a Halloween
Yeah.
Halloween ass shit.
Yeah, and that's what I like. I didn't mind it, but they like I don't know. I was pretty censored, so they were like,
Yeah.
no, this.
It
no,
didn't last
that.
too long. There was only 2 seasons,
Really? Oh.
unfortunately, because it was like, dude, if that show came out today, so popular. I mean, that whole vibe is like that
I
Hot Topic vibe, like Nightmare Before Christmas.
yeah.
Like,
I haven't
Invader
seen the
Zim.
show probably since the last rerun aired. Probably
they
I
made
mean, even
a
before
they
then,
made a
probably.
Netflix special too, like recently.
like about it or like
No, like
they updated
they
it.
they like brought it back.
They did
and
that
made,
with Animaniacs too,
Oh,
and they did it
yeah.
quite well actually.
Did you watch that?
I watched some
You
of
watched
it.
it?
I watched like a recap
Because
of it
I
and like some
love old
highlights.
Animaniacs.
No, oh yeah,
it
oh,
was
you're talking
kind
about
of
the
like a
original old?
resurgence of like Warner cartoons in the 90s
Yeah,
from Steven Spielberg. And it's fire. It's funny. It's very meta because of the characters being in the water tower. And when they brought it back, they did all the different stuff. Like they go to Russia and they do like, I don't know. They just put a modern twist. They make a lot of Trump jokes
in the newer
in the
one?
new one. Yeah,
Really?
they do. They make a lot of Trump jokes.
Calm
just
down,
a
people. It's
modern-
not COVID.
They just make yeah. It's just modern. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of
The
what
old
they
one's
have
pretty
to do
good
to
though.
stay
Well,
relevant.
the thing is, the old one wasn't just the Animaniacs. It was like there's other cartoons.
yeah,
there
because they were
was-
working with Warner Brothers, and he was very aware that it was like they're on a show.
Well, it was like a
and they have
variety
to-
show.
to an extent. Yeah.
So they had.
They had
What about the
all
Good Feathers?
properties.
The Good Feathers, the Mob Pigeons. You remember that shit?
Such a good throwaway joke that was just
It's
reoccurring.
so good. That was really good.
I
Well,
mean, if
Pinky
you're
and the
gonna do
Brain, you know
animal-
that. That's probably more recognizable than the main shit is.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Pinky and the Brain.
It's kind of an unsettling era of like that.
I love Pinky and the Brain. That shit's funny as shit.
Well, I mean, it's like you said, like that kind of Nightmare Before Christmas, Tim Burton kind of like unsettling imagery, but also with like a deeper meaning.
Oh, that was when we were talking about Invader Zim.
No, but same thing. In this, because you brought
Yeah.
up like the not Timber. You may remember Before Christmas and the
Yeah.
Hot Topic type aesthetic of like it's kind of unsettling and edgy, but there's like a deeper like emotional thing there that like people like that tend to kind of like direct themselves towards
It's
and
like the
involve
girl in
themselves in.
Beetlejuice.
Because they see themselves in that horror art aesthetic of that world in a certain extent. I mean, who doesn't though?
I
Really?
like that shit.
I like that shit too. Like Nightmare Before Christmas. It's like, yeah, like
That's a great movie.
if you were destined to be a monster in this like maniacal, chaotic world, why wouldn't you want to have something new into yourself? But then,
Did
like,
you know that
steal
it's
Christmas. It's perfect.
the guy who makes all the music for is Danny Elfman, and he's the same. It's the same guy who made the Simpsons theme song. He wrote all the
Yes.
songs for it, and he wanted to sing for it too, but they didn't. They didn't let him, and they brought someone else in.
They better have paid him extra money for him to not
His
sing
wife
it.
was working in it too at the time. It was in that Netflix thing with like behind the scenes, like the Home Alone one.
Yep.
They did one with Elf, and then they did one with Nightmare Before
Like the
Christmas.
movies that made us or something.
That's what it's called, yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
then the toys
quite-
that made us. That one's good. I
That's
like the
also
Lego
kinda
episode of that one. That shit's fire.
I feel like that's the one that most people would watch. The Star Wars one was pretty
That
interesting.
one was good too,
'cause it's
yeah.
about like commercial.
I watched
success of
the
toy
Teenage
lines.
Mutant Ninja Turtles one. That one's fire because it was like two dudes that came up with it, and it's like these two old guys, and they're like, "I just want respect for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles," and I'm like, "Oh fuck." Like,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles definitely got respect though.
they do, dude. They're in that Nickelodeon fighting game.
Stop.
They're in it because remember the Nickelodeon cartoon with the Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
They had a show with them, so they're in the
Super
game
friendly
too.
looking.
Isn't that funny that they're in another fighting game? Because they were in Injustice too as
Well,
DLC.
Because they are technically kind of like in association with
buddy.
DC.
And Nickelodeon too. So it's
Yep.
like,
Well, they can make those little.
I like that, dude. I'm
Little
excited.
deals
That game
on the
comes out this
side.
fall.
Is it actually?
Yeah,
Are we gonna play that?
we should play it.
Was it
We should
coming out?
play
Is
for the
that
show.
Is it a Switch title?
I hope it's on the Switch.
I feel like
I don't think they've-
wouldn't let them.
They
do
just did a
that.
little teaser trailer and they showed some characters and some gameplay.
Okay. It feels like a
Um,
hardcore like.
They have Helga from Hey Arnold in it.
Dude, it
But they
might be
didn't
PC.
show Hey Arnold. They didn't show Arnold himself. They better put him out. I want to see Arnold throw hands. He's always so docile and peaceful. I want to see him like break and you know what I mean?
He's not that guy though.
I know,
He's always trying to
But if
build
they're
the
gonna put
community
Helga
up.
in, like they're putting Nigel Thornberry in the game.
Yeah.
I want to see Donnie.
But he's an adventurer. You know, he can handle
Yeah.
himself. He's
They're
got
putting
like
Cat Dog in that game too. I want to fucking beat ass. That's
Cat
Cat,
Dog.
Dog.
yeah,
it's
who
a
else
nice
is in the
duo.
game? I'm trying to think of
All right.
Nickelodeon properties. Timmy would be OP because
They,
he would have
you know
the
what's
fairy
funny?
godparent.
They did not
powers.
show Timmy or Jimmy.
Oh, do you know why? Or maybe with Timmy. Well, do they? Danny Phantom.
Danny Phantom was there. Yep.
Okay, so maybe they'd have to have.
It was just a
Timmy.
teaser. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more
Yeah.
characters, but because
I'm sure Butch Hartman is making a decent amount of money off of this.
yeah.
Is he? Does he still own
Well,
like
he
license
did
to
Danny
those
Phantom
characters?
too.
Yeah, no, I know.
So
But does he own the licensing to these characters, or like does Nickelodeon like have
Okay.
that and they're just screwing him out of money?
all right, bro.
What's Butch
There's
have to say?
14 characters revealed in the trailer.
Okay.
14.
Let's count them out.
So we got Helga from Hey Arnold,
1,
Danny Phantom from Danny Phantom,
Fire. 2,
Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob, Zim
Yeah.
from Invader Zim, Nigel Thornberry from the Wild Thornberries, Michelangelo and Leonardo from,
Okay.
and I'm sure they're gonna put the other two in.
Eventually, right?
We got
DLC
SpongeBob
probably.
and Patrick from SpongeBob, obviously. Reptar from Rugrats, the fucking dinosaur.
What?
Which
Okay,
makes
so
me
then-
want Tommy.
Yeah, eventually
and-
the rest of the Rugrats will be there. Or Angelica
And
will probably
then-
be there.
Yeah, and then they have. Do you know what the Loud House is? It's like a newer cartoon. They have a couple characters from that, which is the only two characters I wasn't too familiar with. Do you remember the show Ah Real Monsters?
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's kind a
Ah,
bit
Real-
young.
No, yeah.
There's a character from that, and then there's Powdered Toast Man from Ren and Stimpy.
Hey, okay. So obviously Ren and Snippy will
And
be in there. I feel like Ren and
so-
Snippy will be a combo, like a ice climber type character. It would make sense.
So it's funny because they have oh shit, the cover for the game got leaked, or it's on like GameStop or whatever, and
That's
it
how it-
reveals more characters. So it's like Ren, Stimpy, Cat Dog,
Oh.
Aang from Avatar, and
Yes.
Korra. It's like, dude, this game's kind of stacked. Like,
don't
it
you
looks
mean,
alright.
Sorry, don't you mean Ung,
un.
according to M. Night Shyamalan? Shyamalan?
Oh wait, because he made the movie.
Yeah, and they kept on calling him Ung the entire
Mm.
movie. Ung, what are you doing? And it's like M. Night Shyamalan.
I feel like anime stuff like that should not be adapted to live action.
They animated it for a reason.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
2D surprisingly is more effective
Well,
than 3D
They did that with
in some forms.
with Dragon Ball Z. They made a Dragon Ball Z live action movie. They're making a One Piece live action thing, and it's like, just make
Who's
more like
producing that though?
it's the same people who did Prison Break.
That's gonna be shit.
So
It's gonna be the shittiest show ever.
I'm not looking
sorry.
forward to it.
Because it's a show, obviously, not a
It's
movie.
a show, yeah.
Yikes! It's gonna give me.
There's been no
CW
news
vibes.
about it, so it's like,
There's a reason for that.
I know, it's like,
Keep it
I hope
hush
it's-
hush.
just make more like, just remake the anime at that point.
If you're gonna bring it back in the best possible variation of that.
They're
the
gonna
only
do
thing
that in like
people
50
want-
years. They're gonna start remaking One Piece.
Really? Remaking it?
I said like in 50 years.
But like, how would they remake it? Would they just reanimate it?
Yeah, they've done that. Like that happens with anime.
I mean, you can retouch it up, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm like,
They kind of do that with specials.
Give it more
you can speed run
frames.
One Piece pretty quick
really?
through specials.
Uh,
There's a special that covers the first 100 episodes,
oh,
and then you just like watch like there's specials that cover arcs. and
where's
you
that?
just-
How do you?
It's out there. Episode of East Blue. You just watch through.
I'll
It's like
find it
all the first
somewhere.
part, and then you just gotta watch like a couple episodes, and then you watch another special. I was thinking about it, and I was like, they're starting to make all these specials that just covers everything that happens in the arc within like an hour, and it's like you could just watch this series. You won't get the full experience, but you could
but that's
speed
kind
run
of
that
smart
shit.
though, because you can kind of get the.
Oh yeah, people
gist
get
of
into it. Yeah.
And then the rest of the show, which is a lot of the show, not a lot of the show, because I haven't seen all the show, but it's a
Yeah.
long ass show, and for me,
There's
it's
almost
just,
1,000 episodes.
it feels like a lot of that. Maybe it's not all of it, but it's so long for especially an American audience to digest in any amount of time.
Because it's not broken up.
Right,
If you
and
think about it,
binge
think about
watching-
Naruto. There's Naruto Shippuden,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a different series. It's broken up. If you put all of it together, especially with Boruto,
It's almost
which is about
longer.
his son, if you put it all together, it's like on par with like where One Piece is at right
Yeah,
now.
almost just about.
I have no idea.
But like I could see that because
People are
it's
gonna be
different
mad.
arcs. But I mean, there's.
Hey, I
arcs
just want Hunter
within-
x Hunter to come back.
I don't think the creator of that show wants that show to come
Do you
back.
know that the creator of that show or the writer of the manga is married to the woman who wrote Sailor Moon?
Oh, that makes sense.
Fun fact
Yeah, that makes
for
sense.
anybody.
I did.
I don't
not
know. It's
that.
like, yeah, it's kind of weird because he did like another one in the 90s
I
called
remember-
Yu Yu Hakusho.
What was that one channel that always? It wasn't Cartoon Network. It wasn't Disney Channel. It wasn't
Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon. It was like lower on the scale. It was probably like one of those like
It's not
public access
Boomerang.
channels. But you had
What about
access to like
WB? Was it
Yu-Gi-Oh?
WB Kids?
Yu-Gi-Oh.
WB Kids?
Yu-Gi-Oh was on there, right?
Dude, yeah.
And Sailor Moon.
No, it was 4 kids.
Yeah, 4 kids.
4 kids.
It's
Fun
funny.
fact about One Piece.
Is
There is
that
a
where-
4 kids version of One Piece, and it's mad censored. All the voice acting is complete shit. And
No swearing.
yeah, there's no swearing, there's no guns, there's no
Cigarettes
swears, there's no
are
cigarettes. Yeah, Sanji
lollipops.
has a fucking lollipop, and there's a
You told me
character
that.
that has smoke powers, and his name is Smoker, but they change it, and his name is Chaser, and he has a different power.
Why
There's
not just
no
have him be
blood.
called Gasser?
Yeah, they wouldn't
And
get
then
that far. I mean, there is a character with gas.
uh,
There's an arc that is like really religious because they take out everything religious. But there's an
mm,
arc where
yeah.
it's everything is super religious, and there's a character that thinks he's God and he's the villain, and they never got to that part, and I was like, what the fuck would you guys done? There's so much censorship. It's so funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think at
It's
that
great.
point they were just like,
They
we're
make Shanks
gonna
Australian.
really
Yeah,
for
they
no
make Shanks
reason.
Australian, and then yeah, Sanji sounds like this, and he's like, "Hey, you guys." It's so bad,
So unlikable.
and he's got the lollipop.
But I think their goal with that was probably to get the youth into the series at least
Well, it
somewhat
was for
enough,
kids.
somewhat enough to
I
like
want to watch
later
it.
they can watch it like in full retrospective of what like the actual show is about,
Yeah,
and it's better than the censored version. But you get enough of that information and style of like that world to get you intrigued in it
that's why it's not as popular
because it's for kids.
because it was on for kids.
that-
They didn't make a
and
One
cable
Piece.
died.
They didn't make an official dub for a long time.
Really?
When I watched, because when I started watching One Piece when I was a freshman in high school, I watched the dub,
Mm.
and I watched it all the way up until episode 300.
And then they just didn't have.
And they didn't have
more.
any more, so I had to
Mm.
switch over and start watching it subbed.
What did you watch
And
it
the
on during that time?
dude, some random website.
A lot
This
of
shit's on
viruses.
Crunchyroll now,
Yeah.
but somehow I found it.
Is Crunchyroll's free, right?
Crunchyroll is free
You get ads?
with ads.
That's fine. It's not as bad.
And
as
for
Hulu.
whatever reason, because one of our friends has it on his PS4, and we always watch it at his house, and it runs fine, but on my Xbox it's like all fucky. Maybe it's because he has like the premium
Yeah.
thing, because he doesn't even have ads.
Well, and I don't know if you remember, but that one time that one guy was living at my house, my old house that I was living at during
Oh.
senior year.
Yeah.
He loved anime, and he logged in and downloaded Crunchyroll on my PS4 and gave me his account information, and I had access to like all that. I didn't really use it or like manage that because I didn't really like him or really want to like use that shit or like have any of his stuff on my account, so I just kind of deleted
Yeah.
it, and like he was out of my life before that was even like a
Yeah.
thing. That was crazy when you just have like a random person that you
Dude.
don't know just stop by and live in your house for an extended amount of time because they know somebody who knows somebody, and then they're your problem now. To an extent, 'cause it's like I want to help out as many people as possible, but when it's overstepping boundaries and it's like I have to go above and beyond to like provide for somebody who's just living in the same place as me, like that's kind of more than
Dude.
anybody could bargain for or realistically give
Yeah.
in that position. So it's like there is a boundary, and that gets crossed, and it's like,
Yeah.
how do you even, you know,
Damn.
you can't even communicate with people sometimes because they just don't care about that kind of stuff, which is hard, but it's a little disheartening.
Yeah, man.
And you get through
Crunchyroll.
it, but it's like touch and go, and hey, you learn a couple lessons, you learn about people, and you get a good Crunchyroll account for a little bit
Yeah.
and watch some. What did I watch on?
We were
there?
watching Tokyo Ghoul.
Tokyo Ghoul.
Remember?
Yep.
Yeah,
Great
that shit
intro,
was-
by the way.
Oh,
Fire.
dude, I'm the outro.
The outro is
The
also
outro was
good.
fire. Yeah. Oh my god.
We should revisit that because I haven't watched it since actually, but I really liked it when we did watch it. It was
It's
kind of
one
around
those
that era of
things
like
that like the manga is like really good, and then the anime is like censored. They censor the. Like we were talking about with
everybody
4
does.
Kids, they do that slightly from the manga to the anime in One Piece, like just the animation of it. They take out all the middle fingers. There's a part where a
Really?
character flicks off another character, and it's just perfectly describes his character, perfectly just sets the stage for what to expect from him. because he flicks them off and they take it out.
Just robs you of that.
It robs me. Yeah. When I
character
read the
moment.
manga, I was like, dude, he flicks him off in that scene. That's way more badass. Like, it makes me think of him a lot differently.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like that's the problem with adaptation is having to not only deal with censorship, cutting for time, and
But
just
there's like, do you know how many
digestibility.
bath scenes? There's so many shower scenes and stuff like that. You can't leave a middle finger, but like, there's part where just like, I mean, you know how anime gets. There's just like titties. I mean,
yeah.
it's meant
Well,
for.
they're thinking about demographics, right?
Yeah.
Who's
I mean,
watching animation?
I mean, shonen straight up means teenage boy.
Okay.
Japanese.
So we're going through a lot of teenage boy struggles
Naruto,
and horniness.
Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, it's all shonen. Like most anime is shonen, made for teenage boys.
So
That's
wasn't
why,
Naruto
so-
kind of like a horn dog in the original series? And he was always trying to
Yeah.
like hook up with somebody because then
He
like
turns into a girl.
yeah.
Remember? Like
Yeah,
I
that
haven't
was
watched that show.
a
Too
very
much, so
popular moment in
Someone's gonna get mad.
that niche of the internet. I'm sure they're like, God, I love Naruto so much. It's
I
like
just love
maybe too
yeah.
much. They can make anything a
Oh.
kink nowadays with technology. If you've watched Bo
Yeah.
Burnham's special about the internet,
VR porn and shit.
there's too much. There's too much VR porn.
too
People are
much
investing
stimulation.
so much money in it. At this point, just I don't know. Yeah,
Just
simulate
use your
it.
imagination.
Just have a really wet dream. Shit, like it's a better experience.
It
Learn
really
to lucid
is,
dream.
but then
Come your
mm,
pants.
I don't
The
like having wet
movie.
dreams. They're not fun. I mean, they are until you wake up, and then it's like, I gotta deal with this mess.
Yeah,
It's a mess.
it's a load of laundry. No pun intended. Hey, speaking of people waking up from a wet dream, the movie Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds is officially kind of like coming out and having a release date. That's coming out soon, and I kind of want
Does
to
it
see
come out
it.
next month or is it in the fall?
I think it's coming out next month.
Okay.
Because I know for a little bit they were like on hiatus and kind of being like, we're not going to tell you anything about this because we announced it right when the pandemic was about to start. And now we don't know what to do with the movie until we release it. And now the hype has died down for it. People don't really
Yeah.
care about it.
I
And
love
then they
the
released
Deadpool thing.
The Deadpool to bring it back. And that's Taika Waititi also being pretty smart because he's using his character in the MCU. I'm sure he had to pay decent money to do that, but he's kind of riding the backs of that, and I think Marvel would want to have and Disney would want to have a good reception of that and Ryan Reynolds and
Yeah. That
those
was his
characters.
debut on the MCU.
What was
Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool.
That was his debut. Like technically, I mean,
and
he's
now
with
it's
Korg,
kind of
so
canon now, yeah.
I love
Well,
that.
and everything else can be kind of technically considered
Everybody
canon
is
because
busy
of Loki.
at Disney Plus. Remember when he said that?
Yeah, they're working
That's-
way harder than Kevin Feige. No, I'm just kidding. He's the guy behind the scenes, pointing the
That's so
fingers
funny.
and drawing the lines.
I think
and-
that's his best role, Ryan Reynolds. It's up there. It's just so perfect for his character.
What about his character in Waiting?
I was gonna say it's kind of the same
It's up there.
thing. It's kind of similar, like
It's
self-aware
Super
like-
self-aware.
within the fact that he's like a waiter, like self-aware. I like Ryan Reynolds, man. He's good.
He's
But
good.
then
That's
he's
a very
Pikachu, and
not
it's like-
hot take. That's a pretty popular take. He's a pretty likable guy.
He's
I
not
feel like
bad,
that's
yeah.
his business.
He was in a lot of like older movies, and then he kind of came back and was like in a ton of shit.
Yeah. He had that era
Remember
in like the
the-
2000s where he was like coming
Yeah.
back from like his well,
He was in a lot of stuff.
cuz he was in like the early 90s or not early 90s, but like mid 90s, 2000s a little
Oh.
bit, and then later 2000s.
It made me think of mid-90s.
Classic.
That's such a good movie.
Classic. He was not in
Anyways.
that, but he should have been.
No,
At least a
they're,
little
they're
cameo.
really nobody. I feel
Yeah.
like Jonah Hill's vision with that. He's like he didn't want any like celebrities. I mean, all
Yeah.
the people. I mean, I'm sure he
Because
like
it's
found
more
those.
authentic.
He found those skaters off the street.
Yeah.
He scouted that kid out.
No,
and it's
I
like-
completely understand it because it's like that was.
I need to buy that movie.
if
We
you
were
would
talking
see
about that
Ryan
today.
Reynolds in that movie, it would be so jarring. You'd be like, what? Why is he here? He couldn't play anybody else
Do
except
you know
for
what?
Ryan
Like
Reynolds.
the one thing he could be is like a guy on like a TV in a commercial for like 5 seconds. You know?
Just a quick little cameo.
Yeah, it'd be a cameo.
Which I think he'll eventually start doing. I think what they're gonna do with Deadpool, if not, because what
Yeah,
they
just
think
throw
they're gonna
him
do, they're
in.
gonna give him a movie or a buddy cop movie in the
With, like, a
Marvel
different
Cinematic
character?
Universe. They're probably gonna keep Cable. If they can't, they're gonna get somebody else and like rewrite it.
I
But
need like a Deadpool, Spider-Man.
yes, well, Deadpool will probably have his own thing, kind of like Multiverse of Madness. But eventually, from that point
Yeah.
on,
Bro,
he'll
what if
just
he
become
pops
that
up in,
cameo character like
what
Stanley.
if?
I'm
What
calling
if he
it.
pops up in the What If?
That'd be a great way to bring him in.
They could just throw him in whenever.
Because with Loki, I mean, they can drip feed anything and call it
Yeah.
a different timeline, but then like everything converges
That's such a
eventually in Secret
good-
Wars. Because that's
Such a
coming,
good,
100% now that they've confirmed multiverse branches out.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Black Widow yet, but there's something there that could be more. I don't know.
Well,
Insightful on where
You
they're
know what we
going
gotta
with
see.
the entire
you know what we gotta see first.
Marvel universe, because it's huge. Marvel's not gonna stop.
Oh, they're not done.
They're just, I don't know. They get done with
I'm
one
starting to be
phase.
critical with it though, if I really enjoy it or not, because I couldn't watch that Captain Falcon shit.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier. I couldn't watch that.
I watched it for a little bit. I actually watched the entire series.
I think I threw it on, but I was just like, not like what.
I'll give it a fair shakedown. I mean,
The premise just didn't hook me in. I was like,
It wasn't too interesting. It felt like it was filler, but also
Yeah.
setup. And it was more just like, hey, what if we did? It's like that's where like the What If series eventually went, because like the series of Falcon and Winter Soldier was like, hey, what if we made a series about the next Captain America struggling with the old Captain America's other sidekicks, and then the best sidekick of Captain America becoming the next Captain America. That's like the entire show. Like, of course, that was going. Sam Wilson was, of course, going to be. It's not even a spoiler. I'm sorry if I'm spoiling it. It's
who
not.
the fuck cares?
Who cares? Exactly. And then
It's not like we're spoiling Loki,
no, because
which is fire.
because the entire show is like, oh yeah, Sam Wilson becomes Captain America. Winter Soldier's there to be like, yeah, I'm your support character again for Captain America. Like I'm your support role. Winter Soldier, that's me. I'm
That's me,
covert
remember?
ops. But
There
then
was
they
a
have
movie, and it was called
John Walker, who's gonna be like anti-Cap. So it's like the
Anti-Cap,
old
John Walker.
Marvel algorithm of, all right, you take a villain or you take a hero and you make their villain the evil version of their power set, and then you fight them in the third act of the movie.
Okay.
Iron Man 1, Thor, Thor 2,
Who was the villain in Iron Man?
Obadiah Stane,
Okay.
and he just stole Tony's technology, tried
Oh,
to kill
yeah.
him publicly,
Yeah.
and
What about in
literally
Thor? Who was the villain in Thor?
Loki,
Okay, it was Loki.
another
Okay.
god,
Another god.
the same
Okay.
power set to an extent, right?
Yeah, you're.
But at the end, he was using a sentinel of
I'm
Asgard
not, like,
against
I'm
him.
not as familiar with the earlier Marvel movies
They're all. It's very similar.
as I
Or
am
what
with
about the Hulk movie?
What's
They
that?
just made Abomination. They
Is
just
the Hulk movie? I wonder if that's on Disney Plus. Do they have the one with not Ruffalo in it?
they probably have one of them. I don't know
I
if
never looked at that. They're
There's
hiding it from us, everybody. Listen up. They're hiding that Hulk movie from us. They don't want it to exist.
they don't want us to see it. No, it is actually.
Who was it
on
again?
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton. But then there was one
Wow.
before him, which I don't know if actually canon in the MCU. I think that's a
Was that
different
before?
universe.
That was like before. Before Iron Man, right?
Correct, but that one's not technically in the MCU. But
Hmm.
the Hulk movie also came out just before Iron Man.
Yeah. Damn.
Like literally 2 months earlier, and it had the exact same premise. You have a hero who, due to an accident or circumstances, has to become a hero, and then they struggle with that repercussions of getting their powers and becoming a hero, and then they have to fight the evil version of their power set. They came out 2 months apart. I don't know. It's one of those things, because then they were like, okay, well, this clearly worked in Iron Man and it didn't work in the Hulk movie for whatever reason. So let's tweak this algorithm.
Because it wasn't Ruffalo.
It wasn't Ruffalo. They
No
didn't have a very
Ruffalo.
likable guy. Edward Norton, you want to do too much like UFC, Tai Chi, breathing, yoga exercises.
Do you think they'll make like a solo Hulk movie? Do you think they'll give him a movie?
if Disney plays Universal game and they pay him decent money, because they technically don't own the Hulk, which is why he's been a featurette in Avengers movies, because they did a test run with Universal Studios to make the first Hulk movie.
Bro,
And
I'm
it
sure
did
at this
not
point
perform
they're
well
like,
at
the
all.
Hulk is ours. We made Smart
Mhm.
Hulk. Did you guys do that? No. You didn't even get Ruffalo.
You don't
So,
even got
like-
my guy. Well, and they wanted Ruffalo originally,
Yeah.
kind of, but like they were like, he doesn't have enough star power as Edward
He's
Norton.
so greatly cast.
Yeah.
I think like he's up there.
Wacky, zany, kinda
Wacky
smart.
zany. I'd say the guy who plays Drax. That's also another one that's very
Dave Bautista?
Yeah, that's so fucking
Amazing.
good.
Of course, you'd get a
He's so
dry
funny.
WWE.
I want to watch the first one again.
It's been a long time. I think I've seen the second one.
I've
more
seen that
recent than
movie
I've seen the first one.
so many times. I've seen Guardians 2 so many times. Like
Yeah.
Guardians 2 and Thor
It's
Ragnarok.
my favorite Dairy Queen commercial ever.
Dude, straight up.
Everybody knows the scene I'm talking about.
Oh, which
When-
one? There's two.
Yep.
There's two. There's two. Actually, there's three. There's three.
Rule
Different
thirds,
scenes.
Dairy Queen.
Isn't
go.
there? Because there's the one where the thing is coming.
Yeah, and then they foreshadow
But then it stops
before
at
then.
the but it's at the beginning too, where they
Mhm.
sneak behind the Dairy Queen. They're fucking.
Yep.
He's like, put your ovaries in this plant and let's make a baby.
Let's make a baby.
I'm gonna put a
who's gonna hold
tumor
an
in your
infinity
brain.
stone. Yeah, because I love you too much.
'Cause I love you too much.
I'm gonna Omni-Man your ass, you little pet. It's like what?
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, and then oh bro, I mean we already saw that was a nice little foreshadow moment for Peter Quill's rage, and his outbursts of violence that he had
In the first
during
one?
those moments in the second
Oh.
one. Because when he told him that he killed his mom essentially with the tumor and gave her, cancer and like that whole thing, giving him that
You mean
inciting
like in
moment
Infinity War then?
with Thanos.
With
Because he
Thanos,
was like,
yeah,
okay. It
You're
didn't come
right
out of
about
nowhere.
that.
Everybody was kind of like critiquing that, but they did kind of hint at him like being uncontrollable
wasn't
in
out of
rage when it
nowhere.
comes to like that passion, which is part of his character because he's like that humanity in this space adventure.
He just wants to get some green ass, man.
I can't blame him. She's hot.
He just wants to get some green ass, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's been through a
No.
lot. He got bullied by a blue guy for fucking decades.
But he was his father figure and I actually loved him. He was Mary Poppins, y'all.
I know. I love Yondu.
It's
I'm
kinda
excited to
perfect
see him in the
casting.
What If with T'Challa. That shit's
Mhm.
fucking dope. That's so fucking cool.
It's great what
dude.
if. I mean, it's a great cash grab, but also like it's a great premise off of a comic book
Cash grab,
series
well,
that they
yeah.
already did. I mean,
They're
because it's
throwing it on Disney Plus.
that's what if was eventually. They're like, what? Like we don't want to commit to a series, but it's a bunch of one shots that are
I
all
love that.
kind of connected.
There's an
in a
episode of
certain way.
Futurama about that. They got the What If machine.
Yeah.
And he's like, what if I was big? But then this time it's like, what if Iron Man was a zombie? It's like, I'm fucking about. Or they're all zombies.
Yep, most of them except for like Winter Soldier.
Except for Bucky, who's like, that's badass.
He's
as
kind of the
fuck.
perfect person to
I
survive
wish it was like
that.
Bucky and Rocket, like the two characters with like guns.
The only
yeah.
gun characters in Marvel is seemingly.
I guess Quill's got some too. But...
and Iron Man to an
And
extent.
Iron-
But he
yeah.
got more like laser.
But it would be just more
technology.
badass, like if it was, because they have that scene in Infinity War where they're fighting together,
Back to back.
back to back,
gunning.
and then, yeah, I like that. I feel like, yeah,
They have good character moments.
I
Like
fucking
they
love
put a lot
Rocket
of time
Raccoon, dude. He's
into-
such a, I love him. I love how he was the only Guardian that didn't get poofed.
Yeah.
He was the only one.
But it makes sense though because his
It
character
did,
needed that.
Because if it was anybody else, it'd be like, why? Like, we
Yeah.
don't need Drax.
right. And
We
he's just-
really
he's like,
don't.
Where'd all my friends go?
Yeah.
Like no, like
Yeah,
that's
Rocket's
not
like, I'm-
important to his character.
This shit sucks. Like, yeah.
Alone. I'm truly alone.
Yeah,
like
which
I
I
was
feel like
before I found my
will
family. Which is his
probably-
arc in the third
I feel
movie.
like exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. No,
And they're
you're
gonna
right
tie
on
that
the
in
nose.
with Adam, I think, because he's gonna have a very similar arc of creation by unorthodoxical, but
they
also
totally
like
set that up in the second one too. I feel like they're really alluding for this third movie to be all about Rocket, because
it
like
better be.
he has that moment with Yondu right before he dies.
You are me.
He's like, "I know you, boy." I know you. I'm Blue Merle. I almost said Black Merle.
I'm black.
I'm Black Merle.
Isn't that the energy that he gives off in The Walking Dead though when he says the N-word so many times? It's like, yeah,
Does
no.
he?
Dude, he does in the unedited version. He says that to T-Dog.
Oh my!
believe.
Wait, you're right.
Mhm.
You're fucking
And it's
right.
like it's on the rooftop, which like that show was
It's like
really
in the longest yard.
edgy. Yeah,
Happens in the longest yard.
I don't know. I mean, Merle, bold to say it, but like, what's his name? Roker. That's his last name. Michael Roker. Yep.
Okay.
Michael Roker, great actor. I mean, like only so many people can like go that length.
Yeah.
Because like you have that like you just don't say it, obviously, you know. But like when
But
you
now
have
I'm blue.
that
Now I'm blue. I can
direction-
say it.
Well,
And
you're
I'm
doing-
getting robot nut in the middle of the winter. Remember
That's
that?
true.
In the second
yeah.
one, he's
and
getting
Samuel-
nut. Dude, he straight up just stands up and he's like, "Yeah, I just got my nut in that robot."
Yeah, it's fine because it's not human sex.
That's where Howard the Duck is. Wait, is that where they show him?
Once you go duck, you never go
Yeah,
back. Or
it's
something
like-
that. It's like what?
Fuck yeah, dude.
What a great way to.
I need
Wrap up
Howard
that
the
whole
Duck,
bit.
dude. He's my favorite, dude.
Have you seen the original Howard the Duck? movie?
Yeah, with the duck titties.
Oh God.
The
yeah.
scene where he blows through the window and there's like some duck titties.
Ay. If they
I
do
think-
make a nice spin-off series, I mean, he's gonna be in the What If. I'm already calling it.
No, he's in there.
No, I know, but like he's gonna be an important part of the
Oh
team.
yeah, no, definitely.
The What If series, it's supposedly about the Watcher of that like multiversal plane grabbing all these individual variants, as Loki has put it, variants of these characters to become like this overpowered multiversal threat defending team.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool because it gives a little purpose to these like random little stories that just seem like, well, why would you do this if not for something bigger? Because they didn't have to. They definitely didn't. There could have just been a bunch of one shots and none of it's connected. It's just an anthology series, like a Black Mirror type thing. But they were like, you know what? We could put this all together and make it into like its own thing. Like that series could have more seasons than Loki potentially, just because of the
Should be like an
animation.
ongoing like thing that they
Yeah.
could just put out.
I'd watch it.
Pretty
And
much
I haven't even seen the
whenever.
first episode yet. It's not out. But it's coming out soon, and it's probably one of the most anticipated series for Disney Plus
They're starting
this
to
year.
throw shit out about it, so
I'm excited.
they're throwing it out. I'm sure it's like a different team because it's not live action. So
Yeah. And well, they're not going to have I don't even think Robert Downey Jr. is voicing.
no, it's different.
Yeah.
Maybe they got the guy from the video game.
Hope not. The video game is unsettling because it's like,
No, it's
you're almost
bad.
the same character, but not quite.
And it's
And
too soon.
You're trying to
since the
sound
MCU,
like them. Yeah.
the end of that shit.
They should have
so,
opened the
like,
multiverse first before they did that, because it would have felt less like they were pandering to
Yeah,
what the
that's
future
true.
of the MCU was
That's
going
true.
to be.
I'm sure it would have been more polished. They could have
Yeah.
just thrown the Guardians of the Galaxy in there. They have to make a whole fucking game
Yeah,
for them like
and let
that.
me play as Drax.
and not
Groot.
not even
Like,
make a game for all of them.
I can do that in the Lego game, but I can't do it in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Bullshit.
Call it the Star-Lord game
Yeah.
movie.
Make it before it's the Guardians. If I can just, I know you can give them little commands and
Yeah.
shit, but like, who the fuck cares?
No one cares about that. They've been doing that since Resident Evil 4, and even then it was shit. Like, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to manage a shitty NPC, like, companion. Do it yourself, code it efficiently, and make it just work good. Use the Lego input-output. Let me switch my character. Let me
Make
be
it
Drax.
multiplayer.
What a great idea. I bet they had all these ideas, but they didn't let him do it. You know?
It's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not Iron Man. It's not. It's Guardians of the Galaxy. They're all together. There's not even, you don't even like single them out at all.
No.
Like they're a squad.
Yeah.
You put them together. Make it multiplayer. I want to be as Rocket this game. Yeah,
Yeah.
bro, I got you.
And
Let
I'll
me
play
be-
as Drax.
I want to be Drax.
Kenny will play as Groot, and we got Jake as Drax, because that's the kind of shit that we want to do. Like, honestly, just give us
See, it's,
Marvel Ultimate Alliance multiplayer, like,
they need to
story.
make more games like Dead Island.
Yeah, let me
where
play
you
games with
I
my
just want
friends.
to. I know, right?
I want a good game to play with my friend that
It's either
everybody else
it's either
wants
I
to
gotta
play.
play like the same shit over and over again with my homies, or I gotta play like one long thing by myself.
Yep.
Why don't you give me one long thing with the homies, like Borderlands and Dead Island? Those games are very similar, but like, still, bro, I
Yeah.
want shit like that. I want games that are more like D&D,
Yeah.
you know, where it's like multiplayer like that, but just
But also like impactful to like the world.
impactful and you know,
Interactivity with like
interactivity. Yeah.
the map and like I don't know. There's a lot of stuff.
Damn, bro.
We're getting.
We might have to wrap it up. We're reaching the hour.
Extended episode. My favorite thing about podcasts.
It's only 50 minutes.
Yeah, it's when people say
Probably
like,
won't hit
"Hey,
an
we should
hour.
probably wrap up soon," and they go on for another 20 minutes.
Yeah,
That's
we're not
my
gonna do
favorite thing
that.
of a podcast.
This, yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
next
this
one.
worked out pretty well.
I think so. It seemed pretty fluent. Kind of
Um,
almost forgot that we were recording for a little bit.
That's the magic.
Yeah. My head or my ears are kind of getting a little.
Yeah,
you
I've been
know,
putting it in.
I alternated a little bit.
Well, I alternated, but I have them completely off my ears right now. But I can still hear
nice.
it
That's good.
through
You
my
just kind of
head.
barely hear it. Yeah, I like to have
Yeah.
it right on there to kind of see.
because
what
the
it's-
delay fucks with me.
That's fair.
The delay fucks with me. It makes me feel like I'm more drunk than I am.
Oh. It makes me feel like I'm playing a video game lobby, and I'm hearing my.
Yeah, see, I haven't done that in a long time.
It's like I can hear my voice off of my friend's TV. It's like, bro, how
Yeah.
can I hear myself through your mic? What? Speaking of
Yeah.
hearing.
Time to
Drake
not hear
Bell.
us anymore.
Oh.
No, we can't talk about
Okay.
that. Everybody knows.
It's,
By the time this comes out, it's gonna be pretty old.
it's
news.
gonna be old news, but that should still happen. Anyways, go check
Wait,
out.
by the time this comes out, when this comes out, will the tape be out? Maybe.
I would think
would it be?
so.
By the time we could plan it so that it does come out.
I think it should because I'm gonna talk to you about that other
It
thing.
not has to be. It doesn't have to be. We could just plan it so that it's out already by the time this comes out.
Yeah, I could imagine that it's
doesn't
definitely
matter.
out by the time that this comes out, based on how timing works.
Yeah.
So
Put it in the
keep an eye
backlog.
out. Yeah.
But if not, then we didn't say anything.
My lips are sealed.
I didn't.
We're out. Podcast over. Get me out the stew.
Get me out the booth.
Yeah. Gang green. Gangly. Gang shit. I was holding that one in for a bit.